Hi, today I'm going to give you some tips on how to take your flower arrangement from amateur to pro in no time. My name is Ellen Frost. I've been a florist for 15 years. I write a free weekly newsletter all about my flower adventures. I do speaking gigs, and I also am building a community of flower nerds online. Let's get started. My first tip is to make a really pro style floral arrangement. You want to have a good variety, a good mix of flowers and foliage. So you will often see somebody who takes a bouquet of mums that they get at the grocery store and stick it in a vase and call that a day. We are trying to elevate your arrangements by having them look professional. And to do that, you need a wide range of elements for your arrangement. So today I'm going to use a mix of foliage. I always like to have at least one or two types of foliage if I can. So today I'm using eucalyptus and lindera. I like to have a line flower. So we don't exactly have line flowers today, but we have a plant that works like a line flower, which is broomcorn. Next, we want to have some non-flower elements. So I have some orange ilex berries. This is going to add a lot of color and texture to your arrangement. Then I want to have some more focal style flowers. I'm going to use some sunflowers and some different color and shape mums. And then finally, I want to add a few little bits and pieces to the arrangement that really make somebody take a second look. I'm going to be using some small gomphrena or globe amaranth in this pinky purple that's really pretty. And then I'm also going to be using sea oats, which add a lot of whimsy and a lot of textural interest to my arrangements. All right, my next tip for making your arrangement look professional is to prepare your stems correctly. And this is going to allow your, especially if you're using a clear glass vase, for your arrangement to look nice and clean and not messy. So what I mean by prepare your stems correctly is that I want to clean all of the leaves off of the stem that's going to go inside of the vase. So for this eucalyptus, I'm going to take off all of the leaves that are going to be below the rim of the vase, and I'm going to prepare them like this. I'm going to do this for every stem so that before I start designing, I have nice clean stems to work with. So every stem I'm going to take and I'm going to clean off all of the little side shoots. If I have something branchy like this lindera, I'm going to clip it so that it is in the shape and size of stems that I might want to use in my arrangement. So I'm going to take this nice long stem, clean it up, and then trim it so that it is ready to design with. So I'm going to do that with each of my stems. The thing about cleaning stems is that every flower is different. So for sunflowers, the stem itself is very clean, but these leaves up here, I don't really love these. They're not that pretty, and also they can sometimes get wilty, or they can look like they might have spots on them or bug bites. So I am going to remove most of those leaves from the sunflower. Something like mums, they're very branchy. These mums specifically are very branchy, and they have a lot of leaves on them. So not only am I going to take the leaves off, but I want to take off some of these side shoots so that the stem that I'm putting in the vase is nice and clean, and preferably just a single stem. And so you can see that gives me a nice clean stem to work with, like this. Now, I'm not going to throw these side shoots away necessarily. I can use these for some other things. So if they're too short to go in my vase, I can just clean these up and I can use them in a bud vase or some other small arrangement. But for this, I want to make sure, again, that I have nice clean stems to go in the vase. For gomphrena, you're going to have the same thing. This is a very branchy style gomphrena. So I want to trim this down and make sure any part of the stem that is going in the vase is nice and clean. This is really where you have a lot of, this is like the time consuming part of design often, is cleaning your stems and getting them prepared for design. But believe me, you don't want to have any stems or any leaves or any dirt inside your water, because that really is going to make it look like, one, that it's unprofessional, that you might not know what you're doing. And you just want it to have a nice, clean look. My next tip for a pro arrangement is to vary the heights of your flowers in your arrangement. So again, you'll often see if you take a, bouquet of mums that you get at the store, stick them in the vase. All of the stems are at the exact same level. All of the flowers are at the exact same level. To add interest to your arrangement and to make it look professional, you want to vary the heights of your stems. So I would start with my foliage. Now I've already cleaned my foliage stem and I want to put my foliage in, but I'm not sure how tall it should be or how short it should be. So one of the basic rules is that your arrangement should be no more than 1.5 times the height of the vase. So that's to start for your entire arrangement. If you're not sure how to measure, you can put your vase right at the edge of the table, and then you can take your stem and you can hang it off the side of the table so that you can see, all right, I'd like the top of my stem to be about in this height. So I can go ahead and just cut right at the edge of where the table is. That gives me a good sense of how tall or how short I want it. You might have to clean a little bit more of your stem once you cut it to its correct height. Now, foliage is something we use in the background often. So the next thing for your line flowers, you want those to be actually a little bit taller in your arrangement. So I would use my same technique, keep my vase at the edge of the table, and then I would put my stem on the edge here and see where would I like this to be. I actually want this to be a little bit taller than my foliage. So I'm going to keep it a little bit taller and trim right there. So you can see how I'm having sort of levels and varying heights. For the next thing for focal flower, those are really going to vary. You really want to have a good mix of tall and short in your arrangement. So same thing, I'm going to hang it off the edge here, see where I'd like my bloom, and then go ahead and trim. And you can see I'm starting to vary the heights of my foliage, my line flower, my focal flower. And then even when I put my mums in, I'm gonna do the same exact thing. And of course, the more you practice, the easier this is gonna get. You're gonna have muscle memory about where to cut things, how tall, how short things should be. But you wanna remember, just have some varying heights in your arrangement. My next tip is to think about your flowers in odd numbers. So in 3s, 5s, 7s, when you're putting flowers into your arrangement, think about having them in 3, like 3 sunflowers, 3 mums, 5 sunflowers. What you want to try to avoid is one of something, because one of something, especially a flower that has a center, a face flower with an eye like this sunflower, that is really going to attract your eye's attention to that flower, and you're going to miss a lot of the other things that are in the arrangement. It also feels a little bit unbalanced, especially if you're making an arrangement in the round where you're going to have things on all sides. One really makes it feel like you're having a front-facing arrangement. So you want to try to avoid one of something. You also really want to avoid 2 of something, especially a focal flower like a sunflower. Because what will happen is that your sunflowers can start to look like eyeballs. You can see right here 2 flowers facing the same way at the same plane with centers like these sunflowers really are going to look like eyeballs in your arrangement, and you really want to try to avoid that. So things in 3, if you think about flowers in 3s, 5s, 7s, odd numbers like that, you can work in a triangle so that none of your face flowers are right next to each other and causing that eyeball problem. All right, my next tip to help your arrangement look like a pro is to make sure that you are turning your arrangement as you design. This is a round vase, and I'm assuming that it's going to go in the center of a table, which means that you want all sides to look good. Sometimes, and this happens to me too, is that I will be working on a design and I'll be really, intensely working on one side of the arrangement, and this one side will look great, but the other side will either be totally empty or totally flat, making it feel like it's a front-facing arrangement, even though you intend it to be seen on all sides. So as you're arranging, make sure you're turning your vase as you're putting flowers in so that all sides of the arrangement look nice. When we're designing, we're also often looking at the arrangement from the top down, from this vantage point. So we're seeing the blooms at the top of the arrangement up here. But most people who are going to be sitting at your table are going to see the arrangement straight on with their eye somewhere between, you know, the middle of the arrangement and the rim of the vase. So you want to make sure that all of the blooms are not just up here where you can see them and they look nice to you. You want to make sure that you are tucking in some arrangements towards the edge and the lower part of the vase so that the people sitting at the table are able to see flowers as well. So that it's not a lot of green stems and then flowers all at the same level. This is really going to help make a more dimensional and really more interesting arrangement. These tips that I shared today will help you take your flower arrangements to the next level, whether for your house, whether for a friend, for a gift. Try out these tips and see how they work for you.